Hello, I'm Michelle.
And I'm Laura, and this is the Pair Entrepreneur Club podcast, a fortnightly show to help you navigate the demands of being both a parent and a business owner. We will share lots of practical ideas, hints and tips, and our own and others' experiences in juggling work, family, health and finances. Above all, we want to help you find your purpose, define your identity, and banish any confidence gremlins that might be holding you back from the life you dream of. No matter whether you have children or not, there will be something here for you. Let's get started.
Hello and welcome to the Pair Entrepreneurs Club podcast, where we talk to inspiring pair entrepreneurs juggling the demands of running a business whilst raising a family. I'm one of the co-founders and hosts, Michelle, and today I'm thrilled to be joined by Emma. Emma's not only a talented brand photographer, but she's also a mum of three, a military spouse and a dedicated volunteer. So please welcome Emma Bunn from Natural Aspects. Hi Emma.
Hello, thank you very much for having me.
No worries. It's great to have you on the show. You've done some fabulous brand photographers for Pair Entrepreneurs Club. And if you're impatient like me, and Emma knows this, then you'll love the fact that Natural Aspects USP is they have a turnaround of 2 working days. So you have that brand session backed with you, hitting all those marks, really authentic. Within those 2 days, you can hit the ground running. And that, for me, that's a huge USP. So it's been great. So I've been really looking forward to having you on. Really looking forward to chatting with you. So should we dive in? Are you okay just to start, Emma, by telling us a little bit about yourself and how you started with Natural Aspect?
Yeah, of course. So I've been a self-employed photographer for about 17 years since I graduated from university. So I worked in a range of different genres over that time, from sort of portrait, commercial, fashion, product. And Natural Aspect was really sort of born from that. We relocated back here in September 21. And it was a bit of make or break of whether I take a completely different direction, do something completely new, or I go all in on a photography business and really put everything into it and focused on that. So when I relocated back up to Lincolnshire from Wales, I decided that I wanted to create a business that worked for me, and brand and commercial and working with businesses was the perfect remedy for that, because I could create a business that worked for our family and also gave me a little bit of work-life balance. And Natural Aspect is just all about capturing those natural expressions, those natural interactions, whether it's with yourself and your co-workers, or with your employees, or with your team, and also sort of with your clients as well. It's really important to get that, your brand values and brand ethos and the feel of how it is to work with you across in the visuals that you put out there on social media.
So what actually drew you to the brand photography side? Because obviously you worked in so many different industries, and obviously I'm going to pick out the questions about your relocation because I think that's amazing. But what drew you to that brand photography piece?
Really, I kind of knew it all already because I worked in so many different industries. I did a sort of a course with somebody who's quite leading in brand photography, and when I was sat on this course, I realised that actually I kind of know all these different elements. I've worked with product, I've worked in portraiture, I've worked with people, I've worked as a graduation photographer. So building that instant rapport with people in the 3 minutes that I was with them was really important. So I've almost kind of honed my skills over the past sort of 10 to 15 years, which meant that stepping into and really niching down for me into brand and business was easy. Kind of wish somebody had mentioned it a few years earlier. Because it would have been great, but it was just a really easy transition, and I've always been a bit dubious about niching down, and I know some other people probably think that maybe that's not the best thing to do, but for me it was, and I've niched into brand and commercial and business. However, it covers so many different areas that it's never a boring day, there's never a dull day, I'm always doing something different.
Yeah, that's great. And how do you sort of start that new project? 'Cause obviously, I'm guessing you're working with so many varied businesses, as you say, whether it's product or people with client bases. How do you sort of endeavour that new project and that new relationship?
I spend a lot of time getting to know my clients. It's one of my favourite bits as well. So we'll start with kind of an initial online meeting, and then we'll move on to sort of a brand workbook, which goes really in depth and looks at the structure of the business, who their ideal clients are, their brand, their ethos, their values, and what they want to achieve from a photographic experience with natural aspect. And then we'll do a planning meeting. I do love a bit of a plan. I do like to know what I'm doing. And having that planning meeting knows that both myself and my client, we know exactly where we are, what we're going to be doing. So when it comes to the shoot day, really it's just about going for it and having some fun and having a giggle with it. Because we've done the planning already. So we know what we're going to do and we know what we're going to achieve, and we can just go ahead and enjoy the day.
Yeah, I certainly found that hugely benefited doing the workbook with you, because I think, that is your USP, because I think a lot of competitors would jump straight into making an assumption or doing the research on the website. But I think that is so insightful, particularly from the branding perspective. Who is your ideal client? What does that look like? Who you targeting? Is very unique. And I really appreciated the planning as well, because it was great when we're obviously weather changes and we know what we're going to do if it pivots and if it starts raining and we have to go somewhere else and do something different. So I think that's great. Have you got a memorable experience? Have you got a story you can share about? I bet you've seen some sites on the shoots that you've done. Have you got something memorable that you can share with the listeners?
One that always springs to mind, and it kind of goes back to what you said about making that assumption and jumping straight in. So when I was a graduation photographer, I was training somebody else, Emma, and you never, ever assume who you have behind you and who's with the family, because you will 100% get it wrong. And so I probably hadn't briefed this guy quick enough on never assume you. I would always say to the graduates, so who have you got with you? And then they'd give me the lineup of who they got with them. He didn't. And he turned around and said, "Oh, do you want to bring your dad over?" It wasn't a dad. That was her partner. So that didn't go down too well. And then I think the dad was there as well. But I give him it was an innocent mistake, but after we did have a good laugh, and I was like, just never assume, never do it, because you'll always get it wrong with sort of the family. So you always always double check it. But other sessions have been, I'm going to say this now, and we're going to catch up next week and something's going to have happened. Been quite uneventful. So been really lucky. There's been a few wobbles where I'm always kind of careful if I'm near open water and things, because I tend to get carried away, and if you step back you're done. But so far so good. I've been all right so far.
Imagine you taking out your comfort zone on a daily basis. I think when we spoke a few months ago, you were working for a roofing contractor or something and scaling the top of a roof. And I think, wow, it's you must be really taking out your comfort zone some days in what you have to do.
That one definitely. It was funny with that one. So I was up on the roof, so working with a solar energy company. And I think about 2 weeks before we met, I put a post on LinkedIn saying how terrified I was because I'd just done Go Ape. And we were chatting about what the session was going to be about. And he's like, "I did see your post." I was like, "Yeah, it's just for social media. I'll be absolutely fine up on there. Don't worry about me." So the first session, it was great. I have worked with him again since earlier this year as well. And I just straight up that ladder on that roof, and it was perfect. It was easy.
Yeah. And obviously knowing what else you do, I think for our listeners, Emma also does a fantastic piece of volunteering work for Remember My Baby. So I think, also you have to pivot from the fact that you're doing very corporate and things like that, standing on a roof with solar, and then the other side of it. So can you just tell our listeners how you ended up doing the volunteering work and what it entails?
So I'm a volunteer photographer, as you said, for Remember My Baby. So we go into hospital settings and gift free remembrance photography for parents who have suffered a loss sort of before, during, or after birth. It was a bit of a roundabout way how I came into it. So I'd been aware of the charity for a while, and I'd had a client come to me. I think I was pregnant with one of them. It all blurs into one, doesn't it? And she'd asked me to edit some pictures of her. So I'd worked with her the year before with her son, and I hadn't known at the time that he'd been one of a twin. And she just had a handful of pictures of the two of them together, and she just asked me to work on those images, and I did that. And I think it just made me realise just how and it's awful that it is common. You can't, the minute you start talking about this sort of thing, everybody, I think, pretty much has come into contact with somebody or experienced it firsthand. So after I'd had my third child and we'd moved to Wales, it just felt like the right time. I'd suffered postnatally with my second child, so I was very on it for my third, and I was really aware and just trying to make sure that I was okay after having him. So once we'd come 2 years in, I was ready to kind of put myself forward for the charity, and it's hard to put into words, but I kind of just say I've got this skill set. And I've always been very keen to volunteer and give back and help people. So if I can offer the tiniest slither of whatever to this family who are in the most horrendous time, the most traumatic time, if I can gift them something that might help them in the weeks or months or years or whenever, then I sort of feel like I should. If you've got that ability to help somebody, however small it may be, and they're not going to remember me or but they'll have those pictures there. And I think if you can, then volunteering is really important.
I think it's incredible because I'm guilty of it, and I know a lot of people, especially as we're running businesses and we've got children, we make excuses not to do volunteering. So what advice would you give to somebody who's interested in volunteering and also managing a busy schedule? How do you do it?
So originally, I kind of used to combine the two. So when I lived in Lincoln before, I volunteered for the Sure Start centres. So it was quite easy. I'd do a school drop, and then I'd take whichever children were with me, and we'd go and run a session. So it worked really well to be part of that setting and sort of combine the two. So if you can volunteer in something that the kids can get involved in, that's great, because you're also sort of enriching their experience as well. And I don't think if you've got a little bit of time, however small that time is, if you can give it, then do so. Because you could make a difference. And I can't attend, and it's much more difficult now because the business is the way that it is, and takes up a lot more of the time that I have. I can't attend every session. I can't travel as far out as I used to. So initially, you cover the hospitals that are closest to you, but as anybody in Lincolnshire knows, it's quite a big county, so you could go an hour before you hit the next hospital. So I can't always attend the hospitals. I can't always head up to Scunthorpe or Hull or across to Sheffield or Worksop. And it's a bit heartbreaking not to be able to, if I can't attend a session. It's hard, but I have to have that balance a little bit. Otherwise I would just be on the road constantly sort of volunteering, and there needs to be that little bit of balance for it.
Definitely. So you talk about balance, and you've said you're quite a planner, but what other techniques, what specific sort of routines or habits do you follow to keep that work-life balance for you?
That is an ever-evolving scenario, I tell you. So what's working for me this time, this week, might not be working for me next week. So I do, I've structured the business, and because I work B2B, business to business, it's much easier to structure the business in this way, so that I work from 9 until 3. So I utilize those 6 hours when the kids are at school to be out shooting, editing, whatever parts of the business. And then I do try to be present when they're home. So I'll close the door. I am very fortunate that I've got an external space, which is my office, so I can lock the door and go back into mum role. I have to be really strict with myself, because I'm one of those people who pick up their phone and then just get lost in emails or replying to things. And so I try to be sort of present when the kids are home. A new thing that I'm doing is that I'm getting up earlier. So that's why I look so tired. I get up at like 10 to 6 o'clock during the weekdays. And I try and get some exercise done in that hour before. Well, it's supposed to be before the kids get up, but now they've gotten that routine. So if they're like, "Mummy, you're going on the bike," can I come on the bike? I'm like, 6 o'clock in the morning. No, you're not coming out with me. But they have just joined me in my Couch to 5K take 3, whatever it is. So try and get out and do some exercise in the morning, which is I've been doing for several months now, and it does. I'm not a morning person, but it's working now. But it takes practice, I think, when you and a little bit of time blocking and a little bit of scheduling and a little bit of discipline, but also giving yourself a break. There'll be days when I'm like, I just can't get up at 6. It's like, but I did it for the other 2 days, so that's fine. I can relax.
Yeah. I think that's great. I'm sometimes, to be fair, half an hour in the morning or an hour in the morning doesn't make that much of a difference to me because I'm quite a morning bird. But I think that's such a good idea because I sit there at 7:00. I downloaded a yoga app 7 days ago. Still not been on it. It's 5 minutes every night. That's terrible. And it's because I'm just so tired in the evenings. And I think that's such a good idea. Nothing's really going to encroach on that time. You're not going to pick up the phone to clients, like you say. You're unlikely to be responding to emails. So it's such a good tip to sort of eat into that morning session. Really love that. And yeah, like you, I found having a separate external working space absolutely life-changing. It's really made a difference. Like you say, just as long as you control your phone and your emails on your phone, I think leave your laptop somewhere you can lock up from the house. My laptop came in the house yesterday and I was really disciplined by the evening to quickly take it back into the office because I think, as you say, it really separates the two, and you can know your headspace sort of transforms, doesn't it, when you leave your office and go into your house. It's like it is in a corporate role somewhat, isn't it? You sort of separate the two.
Well, you have so many different roles, don't you, as a mum, that and as a parent and as a that you do. I think your change of location or change of environment can help you separate which kind of role you're falling into as the parent.
Yeah, definitely. I used to find when I first went back to my first, just the commute, and it was only 20 minutes, but getting in the car, that commute sort of really made me separate the two. So yeah, I think in a way, having that separate space, you're in the similar sort of headspace, aren't you? You can kind of leave it and go into the house and be the mum and be the partner, as opposed to just being the work person that you've still got hanging around your neck, literally with your laptop and phone. I'm going to try the exercise. I'm going to try that. You can hold me accountable for that, Emma. I'm going to try that.
I'll do that.
Get my yoga done. That's great. And obviously, from your perspective, you've got a very busy home life as well. Obviously, being a military spouse as well. So just tell us a little bit about that relocation. How did you kind of transform yourself and the business when you relocated from Wales to Lincolnshire?
So we'd been in Lincoln prior to that. So I had I'd been there 6 years as well, and had 2 children that time. So I was running more of a portrait business then, and so I was quite sad to leave it behind. And in Wales, I did various bits and pieces, various contracts, but obviously we all know what happened in 2020. So it changes everything, changes the landscape. And when in all honesty, moving back up to Lincoln was not my first choice. It was a very difficult. I think I've said to you before, and to Laura, there was a lot of tears, a lot of discussions we'd come back up frequently. We were prepping a house that was up here to sell. We were sorting things out, and it's really hard as a military spouse and for military personnel, because you are moved around and sometimes your life is almost out of your hands. So with the move down to Wales, it was it came as an opportunity for us to get back down south. Initially we were looking at sort of Bristol, Bath area, and then Wales came up, and I was like, that's great, we can go and have a three-year kind of holiday down by the beach. It was work for him, obviously, and sort of enjoy being background closer to family, which was what took us down there. I mean, that there isn't really much military wise, Air Force wise in Wales, so we took that opportunity when we had it. And I think maybe my just determination, stubbornness was like, if I'm going to be up here, I'm not going back to where we lived before. I need a fresh start, which we've got in the house. And I love the house that we're in now, and we all fit in there mainly because if we'd come back to the old house, we just didn't fit. When there's 5 of you and everybody's growing, kind of it can get a bit tedious. So I wanted to make it work. I absolutely love what I do. I love working with my clients. You know, if I didn't have to, I'd just shoot for free. Like if I didn't have to earn something, I would quite happily work for free because I love it so much. And I still get the ridiculous, excited little buzz when I'm going through a gallery and I'll see, you know, there's always lots of amazing images, but there's always one that sort of sits out and normally ends up as potentially sometimes as the cover of the gallery. That is sort of a favorite image from the shoot. And I still get the buzz that I got 10, 15 years ago when you get that shot. So, and I needed the flexibility. So being a military spouse, you can find yourself solo parenting very at sort of the drop of a hat. It can be a matter of weeks. I don't have a family network up here to be able to rely on for childcare, and my friends are amazing, but when it's 3 kids, it's a different story to sort of like saying, oh, can you just watch one for me? So I wanted, when I'd had the business previously, it had to come to a stop if my husband was sent away. There just wasn't, I couldn't manage it. And I wanted to be able to continue it when he wasn't here. So last year he was deployed away. It didn't really impact the business that much. It was over a period when it is a little bit quieter. So I tend to quieten down over the August month. Again, I've structured the business so that I can be there for the holidays while the kids are young enough to want me there or need me there. And a lot of businesses tend to slow down over that time as well, which works quite well. But I didn't need to, I was still able to take shoots and also sort of have support from my family, my parents, who were able to sort of come up and help. But the business didn't stop for 4 months, which, you know, when that can be catastrophic for a business. And I'd spent time out networking, building relationships with people and businesses. And, you know, if you take 4 months off, that, you know, you're working extra hard to come back from that. So it was really important to have the flexibility, and being self-employed and running your own business really offers that from a military spouse point of view. Yeah, you can't really beat it.
Yeah, and I guess the business is now established in a way that, you know, you've got it there and you can pick it up and move it, and if you're going to relocate ever again.
Yeah, I think
amazing.
What it is now, the structure it is now, and I feel, this probably sounds ridiculous, I kind of feel like while the kids were little, I was sort of playing at it. It was a nice bit of extra money coming in, and, you know, it was a nice thing to have and to give me that bit of identity back and that bit of personality back, that I wasn't just, oh, you're so-and-so's mum. I'm like, don't get me wrong, I love being a mum, but, you know, I am Emma as well. So I think I feel like a proper business owner now. I feel like I understand what goes into it, and there's processes and systems and all the boring stuff I don't actually really enjoy, but I'll do. It's all sort of set up now. So if I did need to go, big if, I could relocate the actual structure of it, and then it would just be a case of networking again, and also being able to then still sort of offer a service to the existing clients that are here. But I'm not going anywhere just yet. So not that I know of, you know, it could, you know, I'll say this and again, you'll come home tonight and it'll be something different.
Yeah, let's hope not.
Yeah.
So on that note, what are your future plans then for Natural Aspects, and where do you want to go with it in the future, and where do you see it evolving?
I have lots of plans and ambitions, and it's just something that I've spoken to with a lot of people recently, because I've got all these ideas that I want the business to be, but I'm having almost like a bit of a reality check that my kids are still little-ish. You know, like my oldest is 13, so he's becoming less reliant. But I've only got quite a short amount of time with them. So my drivers at the minute for running the business and growing the business are just to be able to sort of give us a nicer life and give them extra bits and pieces. But when they, you know, when my youngest sort of hits his teen years, I'd love to expand the business and sort of bring in more additional services to be able to give more of a rounded package to clients. Sort of talking to people, and obviously when we do the workbooks and the questionnaires, I get amazing information back from clients about what their pain points are, and a lot of them are the same. And I'd love to, you know, I'd love to be able to help them with their marketing and help them with their social media. but unfortunately I'm just one person. So at the moment I'm
Yeah.
sort of focusing on the visual side of it and sharing hints and tips and any info that I can, but I'd like to be able to do it in a more structured way. And I've got sort of ideas of having maybe a dedicated space that isn't sort of the home office as well. So there's potential, but I won't share too much. Just in yeah, I think just although it's good to be kept accountable for that too. So there's definitely I've definitely got big aspirations to grow it because I love doing it so much. But I also, as sort of part of my sort of, I focus a lot on self-development. So as part of that, it's just giving myself a bit of a break that I don't have to do it all and have it all now. That and I know a lot of people, I'm really fortunate that I have that opportunity. The money that I bring in and the business brings in is kind of, it just enhances life. So, and some people don't have that opportunity. So
Yeah.
I feel if you can take it and enjoy the kids while you've got them, while they actually care about you.
Absolutely wise words. I think we forget that, don't we? And I think you're right. You, like you say, you kind of conflicted with that for so many people. Are either like, well, I've got these 18 summers left with my children, and other people are like, well, I've got this where I wanted to go and I want to grow it. And there's not a right or wrong, but I think yourself, don't you, what you want for you and your family. And I think that's certainly a journey I've been on, and we hear it a lot from our coaching clients as well. It's a difficult balance, but I think if you know yourself, you're on that right direction. You can grow the business aligned with what your aspirations are. It's a fantastic place to be in, isn't it?
Definitely.
So it's been so insightful, Emma. I appreciate the shares, and I'm sure our listeners are going to find it really interesting to hear how you balance things, ultimately how you've pivoted and relocated, and ultimately advocate to anybody out there listening. If Emma can do the volunteering with the busy life that she leads, then I'm sure we can all as well. So I think fantastic, kudos to you for doing it. So I've taken that away to think I make excuses not to do things, but I think we definitely could get smarter with how we plan things and do it ourselves. It's been great to have you on, Emma. I've really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed talking to you. As always. Thank you ever so much. And to our listeners, if we'll put Emma's details in the chat box if there's any queries or questions, and if you're interested in brand photography, then definitely shout out to Natural Aspects. And don't forget to obviously subscribe and leave us a review. Until next time, keep thriving and balancing and enjoy that business. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. We rely heavily on word of mouth, so if you found value in this episode, please hit subscribe and share it with family and friends. If you'd like to find out a bit more about us, you can find us on our Facebook group, Pair Entrepreneurs Club, or alternatively on Instagram, parentrepreneurs_club. We hope you have a great week, and we look forward to talking to you next time.